This keeps getting better for the Boston Bruins as they've made once again another signing out of college, this time signing a interesting Cornell forward, and the Bruins are moving down in the standings, meaning that they have a better chance at the first overall pick. We're going to be talking about all of that here in this video, including the signing and where they stand currently with a Seattle Kraken win last night in this video. Very quickly before we get into this, we're currently sitting at 6,574 subscribers. We're on the road to 7K, and your support lately has been absolutely incredible. I appreciate all of you guys watching this video right now. So if you haven't already, be sure to go and hit the sub button. We have a lot of news to cover here. Starting off, and let's get into this video. Starting off here from Scott McLaughlin, the Bruins have signed Cornell free agent forward Dalton Bancroft to a one-year entry-level contract with an NHL cap hit of $950K. He'll report to Providence on an amateur trial for the remainder of the season. 15, 12, and 27 to 36 games as a junior, played on a line with Bruins prospect Ryan Walsh, and was at the Bruins development camp in 2024. Now, when we're looking at the Bruins making this decision, I think it was a pretty fairly easy one, knowing that they were going to go out and try and make a few signings here out of NCAA. They were going to go try and make a few signings to bolster this team, have a potential for a diamond in the rough. And for those who've been here last year around this time, you know I'm a big advocate for signing these NCAA free agents with a lot of freedom to it, a lot of risk-free moves, and having the possibility of a booming player. And although Dalton Bancroft is not one of these players that are going to go out there and light up the score sheet, he's a player that seriously has a lot of potential, and especially for the Boston Bruins here as they progress into a rebuild offseason and into a season next year where there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding what is going to happen and where they stand to this point. But when we're looking at his game, he is a player that really has a lot of potential, a player that has a lot of assets the Bruins could use, a physical game, and we have a little quote here coming in a minute from Jimmy Murphy coming from Dalton Bancroft about how he describes his game. But when we're looking at his stats here this year and over the past few seasons with Cornell, he's been very consistent. You know, he's not, as I mentioned, he's not a player that's going to go light up the score sheet, 24 years old, a bit of an older college player, but his last few seasons have been very promising. 27 and 36, the season before 31 and 34, the season before that in his first year there, 21 points in 33 games, and as you see there in the MHL, OJHL, the junior A level in Canada, he's been a very, very solid player and someone that the Bruins are going to like, especially because of his size, 6'3", 207 pounds. He is a big boy coming out here, and he models his game after someone that the Bruins are pretty familiar with, someone that the Bruins, hate to play against, and every other team in the NHL hates to play against, and Tom Wilson. Now, this is where we have here a quote here from Jimmy Murphy. Here's what Bancroft told me about his game. I've always said that my favorite player is Tom Wilson. Big guy, lays hits, he can fight. I don't know if I can fight yet because I haven't been able to get in one just yet, but yeah, kind of being one of those guys who always lays the body on the line, love laying guys out as much as I like putting the puck in the back of the net. And this is a cut of a Boston Bruin. They've been looking to get a bit more physical over the past season, especially this year. Although it may not have worked out now in the standings, we're going to be in a better pick than we were even in the last video, which we're going to get into a little bit here later near the end of the video. But being able to be a physical guy, a guy that likes to put the body on the line, a guy that likes to use the body, we're having him in a lineup now, not with the Boston Bruins this year, but we get to test it out in Providence for the remainder of the season this year with this signing coming for next season, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but when this signing does kick in, he's going to have a great opportunity. And as you've probably seen there from that screenshot with the top standings, or the top point getters at Cornell, he was playing on a line with Ryan Walsh and a Boston Bruins prospect there as well. I think the Bruins are trying to looking to get some familiarity between the two in a possible lineup down the road. And I think that's something that the Bruins are really going to want to get, some chemistry. We saw the chemistry this year not be great at the start of the season. Now, even where we are right now, near the end of the season, the team is not where it wants to be. We're the fourth worst in the NHL. This team still has so much more chemistry than it did earlier in the season. And although it may not have worked out in the score sheet, the Bruins admitted to the tank. They adapted it. They finally went and absolutely just did it and without any repercussions. They went, got these players out in the trade deadline, went and made a big rebuild here and are going to be setting into that next season. And the chemistry is something that they're going to want to keep going with. And even though, as I mentioned, it's not where we want to be in the season here this year, it certainly worked out well for a lot of players who were struggling early on. Morgan Geekie being, I think, the prime example of that. So I want to know what you guys think about this signing. I don't think he's going to make an immediate impact just yet. Obviously not going to be in the NHL for the time being. But when we're looking at Cornell forwards, especially with Ryan Walsh, and when we're here with Dalton Bancroft, I see these two guys really playing well together, and looking at what they've done in Cornell, That can certainly translate over at this level, and I think it's a good opportunity to see if they can play at the professional level, and in this case, Dalton Bancroft, who is going to be playing here for the remainder of the season with the Providence Bruins and getting a bit of playoff action, hopefully, down there at this level. So let me know what you think about that signing, but moving on. As I mentioned in this video as well, the Bruins have found themselves in a much better position now than they were earlier in the season. Even though we're down in the standings, the picks are getting better, and after last night's video, after yesterday's video, I mentioned we were in the 5th spot currently in that draft, and now we have moved actually up into the 4th overall pick in ranking. So going over to this tweet here from Steve Conroy, I'll get into that one a little bit later. When we look at right here now, the standings, San Jose, Chicago, Nashville, and Boston find themselves at 4th, a 9.5% chance of the 1st overall pick. Losing 9 games in a row is so beneficial for the Boston Bruins. I mentioned this is yesterday's video as well, that when the Bruins are coming out here and losing these games, there is no point in bringing back anybody, in this case, Charlie McAvoy. There's no need to bring him back. I do want him to see, this NHL ice again this season, but for the best of the Boston Bruins, and when we're looking at the top 4 players available in this draft, they want to stay in this position right here or move up. You do not want to move down. I think the 4 top players in this draft are clear-cut 1, 2, 3, and 4. A lot of the first round, I think you can move up and down. You can not have a necessary guaranteed player in that position, but the top 4 are going to be elite talent, with Matthew Schaefer seemingly the clear-cut number 1, but there still is a bit of uncertainty there as well. Now, when we go into who is available, Matthew Schaefer, of course, number 1, Michael Misa, Porter Martone, and James Haggins, the 3 that are very, very talented players, and of course, the Boston College guy, number 4, James Haggins, now being projected to the Boston Bruins here in this draft, is something that they're going to want to see. 37 points in 37 games. He is an absolutely amazing player. The talent he possesses is one that you don't get every so often, and when we've been looking at Don Sweeney's draft history, it's one pick that you really cannot mess up. And either of these 4 players, whether it is Matthew Schaefer, who is incredible, broke his collarbone this year at the World Junior, so it was only having 17 games, but 22 points in that as defenseman. Of course, very, very solid. But Michael Misa, Porter Martone, and James Haggins, 3 players that will work very, very well wherever they go, and especially for these 3 teams. But when we're looking at the Boston Bruins, we know the center depth is not great. James Haggins is a great, great center. I want to see him in a Bruins jersey. Keep him local, keep him home, and that way, the Bruins are going to be set up in a very great position for next season. So let me know what you think about that. But I want to head back to that Steve Conroy tweet here very, very quickly. It says, yes, one of the scouts said here that there's quality in the draft, but not an obvious number 1, though Schaefer seems to be the top a lot of mock drafts right now. And kind of what I was pointing out a minute ago as well. He definitely does seem to be a great player. I think a lot of teams are going to be a bit hesitant on the injury with that collarbone. He's not the most physical guy. He's a very, very talented defenseman, but there's a lot of mixing around from 2 to, let's just call 25. I don't have the exact mock draft right now in my mind yet. I have not made one just yet, but when we're looking at the Bruins position here, as we're kind of pointing this out here in this video, the players around this position, James Haggins, Michael Misa, Porter Martone, a few players after this as well, even where we kind of were the past few days in the previous few games, there are a lot of players here at a great position for the Bruins, but James Haggins, I think, in a bit of a biased reason, playing for Boston College, I think it's going to be one of my favorite players here in this position. So let me know what you think about the Bruins moving up here, as well as, of course, the Bruins signing the player out of Cornell. I think that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Ryan Walsh. I think it's going to be very interesting to see where we end up in the Providence Bruins season here. Of course, we don't really know the roster yet, but I do think that when we're looking here at Dalton Bancroft on this 1-year deal, and I believe, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe kicking in next year, I'm excited to see what he can bring with this physical aspect of his game. So let me know what you think about all of this stuff here in the comments below. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.